Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Our executive producer, John Hollis. Who's John? The National Democratic Convention is finally over, and you know, was that touching or what? I mean, I cried. And I bet you can't wait for the Republican convention to start, right? Yeah. Did you read this? The city of Hartford isn't picking up commercial trash anymore. But the small businessmen have outsmarted the city. That's right. They've disguised their garbage, listen to this, as trees, knowing that the city can't resist disposing of them. Yeah, that's an inside Hartford joke. Does anybody know what today is? Today is National Empire Day. That's right. It's a time for all of us to reflect on those little people in blue and remember that they're people with feelings too. You're gone! You know, it's the age of the singing duos. That's right. And Gary Hart and Lionel Richie have teamed up, and they've been bitten by the bug. Actually, Lionel was bitten by his wife. But they're starting... But they've cut a new album with a hit single, that's right, for all the women we've loved and got caught with. Where's John Hollis today? Is he on vacation? That's right. I'm sorry. John Hollis is in Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen, fulfilling a lifetime dream. That's right, he's a scab writing for Jake and the Fat Man. We got a great show for you tonight, and I really mean that, because we have a repeat guest. We've never had that before, but that's how desperate we're getting here. We have Channel 18's Irv Goldfarb, the host of the new Sports Make Show. You go! But before we go to Irv, let's talk with Nikki Levine, who's out there at DOT, a DOT annual picnic, I believe it is. And Nikki, how does it look out there?
Johnny, I'm here at the State Department of Transportation's annual summer picnic. It began as a gala event calculated to help DOT employees forget some of this year's earlier mistakes. But at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, tragedy struck.
Some say it was the immensity of the 50-year-old red oak that set off 40-year-old George Williams. One eyewitness said Williams threw down his coleslaw, stood up and yelled, "Viva El Bunyan," and then proceeded to run out to his van where he procured his chainsaw. Little Frankie Falana is still in shock.
Oh, I was just out there watering my parents' squash, and then all of a sudden I hear someone yell, "Timber!" And then I said, "What the heck is going on here?" You know? And then I ran out, and my oak was lying dead on the lawn.
For former Red Oak owner Frank Falana Sr., the felling of his red oak is only part of the mystery. The real question is how Williams cut, split, and stacked 17 cords of oak before the police arrived. Co-workers are still shocked.
I've known George for 7 years now, and I've never seen him work like that. He's not even getting paid. Something must have just snapped.
I saw the whole thing. The man just went crazy.
For George Williams, 1988 had been a cruel year indeed. He was one of the principal workers in the Brainerd Airport massacre, where 19 acres of wooded area were mowed down cold. His wife says he never fully recovered from that traumatic experience.
George just wasn't the same after the airport incident. Why, anytime he heard a plane, he'd run and grab his axe.
For many at the DOT picnic today, Williams' faux pas went unnoticed. In fact, one befuddled co-worker offered to buy a cord of wood from him. But if George Williams is truly a victim of post-Brainerd syndrome, he isn't alone. Nikki Levine, HCTV, back to you, Johnny.
Hi, I'm Irv Goldfarb from WHTC in Hartford, on loan to downtown with John Mason here at Public Access TV. This is being hailed as a classic for public access television. A soap opera named after a Connecticut town where love, money, and power are all spelt with capital letters. Putnam. The story is as shallow as its tortured characters. Ruby Van Johnson, the wealthy socialite who insists on being photographed from the top down.
How can I trust you? I'm one of the wealthiest women in town, in all of Putnam. My father owned the biggest hula hoop factory in the state. How will I ever know that you married me for my beauty and not my hula hoops?
Her husband, Chip, a camp counselor who was introduced to Ruby by our son, George. He was foolish enough to marry for the one reason that was tearing them apart: love.
Believe me, the moment your son, little George, introduced us at the Insight Camp, I knew I only wanted to spend my life with you.
W. Chaser III, the real estate mogul who collects condos the way he does tuxedos.
I bought the house, gambling that I could get these handicapped kids out of there by the first.
His wife, Leah, who had money, jewels, and clothes. She had everything a woman could want in life, except one thing.
So, Chip, how do you like working with all those young, firm, naive teenagers?
Join me now in a sneak preview of this public access blockbuster, due out for release this fall. The story everyone's been waiting for. Putnam.
So, before the chasers arrive, where were you last night?
Honey, I told you already. I had to drive a new camp counselor home.
You mean the one that wants to be a Playboy bunny when she grows up?
Now, honey, she pulled a muscle in her upper thigh. What was I supposed to do? Make her walk home?
Then why is it you didn't get home till 4 in the morning?
She was showing me some of her modeling photos. You know how kids like to show off.
Let me get this straight. You were looking at photos of a girl who someday wants to be a Playboy bunny.
As far as I can see, she could be one now.
You're the reason for my drinking. And what else did little Miss Centerfold show you?
Ruby, you're the one I married, not some 22-year-old kid who measures 38, 23, 36.
I don't need to take this. I'm not some toy you can throw away when you're tired of. If you don't watch it, take my love to town.
But Ruby, don't. Your jealousy has gotten out of hand.
You know, there was a time in our marriage when we'd stay up till 4 in the morning and we weren't looking at photos.
We still can, Ruby, but you gotta trust me. You gotta let go.
How can I trust you? I'm one of the wealthiest women in town, in all of Putnam. My father owned the biggest hula hoop factory in the state. How will I ever know that you married me for my beauty and not my hula hoops?
Believe me, the moment your son, little George, introduced us at the Insight Camp, I knew I only wanted to spend my life with you.
Touching, Chip. Very touching. So what you're saying is my physical beauty captivated you. You couldn't wait to hold me in your arms with your dirty, smelly campfire hands.
I guess that's one way to phrase it. Let's just say I wanted to spend my life with a woman I met, and I didn't care who she was or what she owned.
What this reminds me of, you holding me so close, so hard, so manly.
Our first night camping out?
No, that oil driller from Waco. Wiggins, will you knock that off?
Sorry, my lady, just stretching the old joints. Ah, that must be our guest. I'll get it, my lady.
Please do, and make sure little Georgie's cleaned up for dinner.
Well, let the party begin. The star is here.
Hey, let's not forget the guy who makes the sunshine.
It's nothing you can say, tear me away from my God.
Well, we're back, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Downtown. If you just joined us, you know, our guest today is our first repeat guest that we've ever had at Downtown, and we've got over 400 shows we did here. And Irv Goldfarb, Channel 18's wrap-up host, sports page host, as well as wrap-up host, movie review host, is with us today. Irv, thanks for being on the show.
Anytime, John. I'm so honored to be the only rerun.
It's good to see you. Join us in 2 weeks when our guest will be...
You had 400 shows there?
455 shows.
I tend to think you're lying, but I'm not going to
Irv,
make an issue
sports
out of it.
page show. Something new for you?
Yeah, it's something fairly new.
How's it going?
Well, the first show was real good.
Now, do we have clips of that?
No.
How did you get it, Irv?
How did I get the clips of it?
Yeah, no, how did you do...
How did I get the show?
Yeah, that's the question.
Well, it was a follow. We had the Whaler wrap up all year, and it did so well. And the summer came.
Well, that's not what I heard, Irv.
I don't want to hear it. He's saying...
Hi, Irv Goldfarb from WHTC Channel 18. We are in the WHTC Film Library, and I have brought out the jacket and the tie for the big Hollywood premiere of Ishtar. Seems like it should be time to really deck yourself out. Warren Beatty and Dustin Hoffman with Elaine May directing. It's got Charles Grodin and Jack Weston, the movie that's been in production for years, and it's going to be a big hit, right? Take a look at this. You see the look on those people's faces during that number? That was about the way I felt 5 minutes into Ishtar, and by about halfway through the film, the rest of the audience was giving the same looks to the screen. Nobody could believe it. This thing was billed as a tribute or a remake of the Road Pictures starring Bob Hope and Bing Crosby back in the 40s and 50s. I'm sure if Bob Hope went to see Ishtar, he wasn't too happy with what he saw. Characterization-wise, it seemed like they pulled a switch for some reason. Dustin Hoffman played the guy who was good with girls, and Warren Beatty played the big dope who didn't know what he was doing. Besides being kind of hard to believe, Warren Beatty did a good job. I think Dustin Hoffman was kind of forcing issues, but the whole movie is really forced. Elaine May, Dustin Hoffman, and Warren Beatty seemed to have a big inside joke going between them. They just didn't tell us what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to come out in 1986, Ishtar. It wasn't released until 6 to 8 months later, and there had to be a reason for that. Somebody knew this thing wasn't going to work. Charles Grodin has matured as a character actor. He's fine. Jack Weston does his usual good job, too. But then when they get to the desert, the movie really falls apart and gives you scenes like this one.
What have I done with my life, Lyle?
Not now, Chuck. Not now. Not now.
No children. No wife.
Chuck, this isn't really a good time to get depressed.
You're right. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Look at the upside.
What?
We're not living lives of quiet desperation.
I guess I just have the blues.
And the rest of the movie goes on something like that until it finally mercifully ends. These three guys, Warren Beatty, Dustin Hoffman, Elaine May, they should know enough about comedy not to have made a film like this. There's actually two funny parts in it. One has to do with a blind camel and one with some vultures. And I swear they did a survey in Hollywood last week. People coming out of the movie, they asked, what did you like about Ishtar? Almost everybody said the same thing. The blind camel and the vultures. So if you like animals, you may like it. For myself, I'm going to give it 1.5 camels.
Oh.
And for WHTC TV Channel 18, I'm Irv Goldfarb. See you in the desert.
Banana,
Okay, we're back with Irv Goldfarb, Channel 18's host for the new sports page show. And Irv, you did the Whalers wrap-up show for what, 2 years, a year?
A year.
Okay, now anything you stand out in your mind about that? Any?
No.
Any kind of show that stand out in your mind as far as things that happened on the show?
Well, unfortunately.
Now that's live, right?
Oh yes, that's live too.
Both shows.
Unlike this one, where we mess up, we can do it over again. That's live. Well, I mean, we had our share of phone callers who commented about live feelings and they would use saucy language. Which
do you have a second second delay?
We have a second delay.
It's all live.
Yes.
Okay. So what are some of the things that were called, or what?
Well, if I say them here, they'll pull you off your 130 cable stations.
132.
Right, 132. But well, you know, every once in a while you can expect that. But it gave the show, I mean, more interest. Now people would watch and say, "Boy, I wonder if somebody's going to call me and say something bad." So more people would watch with that in mind. Not that I'm advocating that; I hated it, but it made it more interesting. No, I did.
No, I wanted to know, like, you seem to know a lot about sports. I only saw one show. You seem to know, a lot about sports. Was that something that it's come easy for you, or was it, something that you had to study up on, like?
Well, I would think if you had to study up on something you're interested in, you shouldn't be bothered.
Well, I mean, say you had a job opportunity and you didn't know too much about hockey. You might study up on hockey, the game of hockey.
Well, actually,
played. I mean, do you know about soccer?
No, yeah, I see what you mean. Obvious. Well, there's a perfect example. Before this week, I knew nothing about golf, nor did I care about the GHO. I mean, for my money, it can rain all week, and I really couldn't care less.
Do you know what a handicap is and all that?
Yeah, we have a guy that works. No, anyway. But now, because we did the GHO special, I had to learn a little bit about the course, and I had to learn a little bit about what makes a tougher course and who won last year and those kind of things. I'm still not going to run and see the GHO, but I know more about it now than I did then.
So what's your favorite sport that you know the most about?
It's probably baseball.
Baseball. Who's your favorite team?
The Mets are my favorite team.
You always like the Mets?
Mm-hmm.
Now, does baseball come easy for you then, knowing the most about it?
Yeah, it comes very easy. Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I think as far as baseball, football, hockey, if you didn't know it, you should have no business really. You can't just study up and say, well, I better learn about baseball. I'm doing a sports show now. I think anybody that has to go that route doesn't deserve the job. I mean, I wouldn't say, boy, I should learn about interviewing people and take your job, even though, Lord knows. But I don't think.
Well, this is my strength. We all have strengths.
What is your strength?
My strength is writing, as you can see here.
Oh boy! No, I can tell by those wonderful sketches.
The monologue.
Oh, the monologue was fine. Yeah. Doesn't John Hollis help there?
John Hollis helps me.
The producer, by the way, who's right there producing, doing a great job. You dropped your mic again. You sure you don't want to use this?
No, I'm all set.
We can hook it right in here, really.
All set. I said I'm all set.
Sorry.
So, who's your favorite player, and why? Who's your favorite baseball? Who's your favorite player of all time in anything? Now that's a tough question. Your favorite
that's
player?
the easiest question you've asked. So.
Who is it?
Bobby Orr.
Why?
When you're 14 years old, you don't think why. I mean, he was exciting and young and vibrant. No.
Now Bobby Orr was the defensive back.
Excuse me?
He was a defenseman.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I've also been a defensive back for the Bruins. I was a bit rebellious as a child, so to live in New York and be a Bruin fan, that was really asking for trouble. So I was able to root for an exciting player and ask for trouble at the same time, which was kind of gave a little bit of edge to my life.
Now, do you
I think Courtney is stealing the set on your horse.
Do you follow the Whalers?
I have to. I have no choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do they look this year?
Green and white, and they skate around like that.
I understand that. But how do they look as far as a team? Do you think they're going to come back?
Well, it's really do or die for Emil now, I think. Emil had his one great year and his one lousy year. And if he follows it up with another lousy year, the new owner, Donald Conrad, will, who also will be on our show, I probably told you, he'll have to make a decision. Emil has always been known as a general manager who brings a team up to a certain level and then nothing.
Okay, now you follow the Whalers, you know what's going on. What do you think happened last year as compared to the year before, as far as they
Nobody really seen. I even asked Gordie Howe that question, and even he he had the best answer. Yeah, well, Gordie. Well, after I had talked to Bobby Hull about it, and the Rocket wasn't able to answer, so when I had Gordie on, he actually came with the best answer. He said 2 years ago, this is great. He says 2 years ago they came back to the bench and they were like bent over and breathing hard and they were like really winded. And this year when they came back to the bench, they were all sort of just sitting there doing this. He said they weren't working.
So
he said, watching, they weren't
so
working.
what happens? They live off the past year?
You tend to do that. Like let's say you have a great show. Okay. Now the next week.
What was that?
Well, I'm sure one time. Well, last time I was on. Okay. Let's say you had a good show. Now the next week somebody comes on. You say, oh well, last week was great. Now you have a guest and it dies. Because you think, well, it was so easy last week, it'll just come naturally again.
I like that analogy.
You know what they say? You got to put in 110% because that's what it takes to work.
Irv, I want to thank you for being on the show.
That's really it again? Yeah.
Good luck with the show. We'll watch every, what night?
Monday nights at 7 o'clock on Channel 18 Live.
Cutting it close.
I'll tell you. Unemployment line.
Okay, everybody, what's the happy celebration, troops?
Well, where have you been? You missed the party.
Down at the stock market.
Well, don't you know what's going on?
I know what's going on. It's gone up 1,000 points in one day.
No. About Vacationers Insurance Company.
What vacation?
They've been calling everybody up.
No kidding.
Don't you know about the layoff?
No.
You didn't hear? They laid off 400 people yesterday.
Vicky. Why didn't you call me?
But I tried to get you for 4 hours last night.
You know, I was home all night, and that phone didn't ring once.
Why was your phone busy for 4 hours?
I couldn't reach you.
Neither could I.
You're kidding. He said hi to you? Right in front of everybody?
So long, Irv. Thanks for coming. And thank you people for joining us tonight. Sure, we had some technical difficulties, but we worked it out, right? We're just about all out of time, and we're all out of Irv Goldfarb tapes. Except there is one. Let's close with this last Irv Goldfarb special. And remember, tonight, hug an umpire. See you in 2 weeks.
Pete, you! Again, one more time!
The award-winning documentary is called Scared Straight. It was a story about a group of youths who were headed toward a life of misery and crime. That all changed after a short visit to New York's Rahway prison. There, they met men who started out the same way as themselves, able to witness the consequences of an early life of crime. The results were so successful that the Rahway method was used all over the country for all aspects of life. But the case became very controversial. And the group had chosen, this time, a career of comedy. In order to deter the young comics away from a life of sauce, smoke, and swearing, the state ordered these young comics hopefuls to visit a place called the Comedy Basement. And it's here they would run into two veteran comedians, two souls destined to live by the laugh, two men who decided to help those shown the side of comedy. Join me in this classic documentary, Scared Silly.
This is sure a spooky place, I would say.
Yeah, it's nothing like the movies.
I'm scared.
Hey, you guys, you're acting like we're in a cemetery. This is where all the greats got started, at the bottom.
What the heck was that?
I don't remember giving anybody permission to talk. Do you, Boo-Boo?
My name is Cindy Epstein, and I've been in this hospital for 5 years. Ay, Dios nos bendiga, nuestro Padre que está.
I wouldn't even bother, Señorita, because you see, around here, God sometimes doesn't hear prayers.
Ay, Dios mío.
Who the heck are you, mister?
You talking to me, boy? What's your name? What time are you from?
Dave from Greenwich. I was just thinking aloud, mister. I'm sorry.
Good. Because now you're in my turf, in my club. Now let's hear some laughter. I said let's hear some laughter! Because for some of you, that'll be the last time you laugh.
Will be the last time.
You correcting my grammar, Mama?
My name is Eleanor Dillard. I've done One Life to Live, Search for Tomorrow, and I personally know Joan Collins.
yeah, well, what has Mama done lately?
Well, I did an insect repellent commercial a few years ago, and...
Does that tell you people anything? Mama over here hasn't worked in 10 years. Are you sure you want to be comedians? On the road all the time? Not a friend in the world? They want to be comedians, boo-boo!
My name is Bertha, and let me tell you a thing or two. I just want to go home.
Why can't we be comedians? Did David Letterman and Jackie Mason start off at the bottom?
Right. For every David Letterman and Jackie Mason, there's a Milton Berle. How would you like to go around dressed up as a woman your whole life? I don't dress up like a woman for nobody. He wouldn't dress up like a woman for anyone, boo-boo.
The sunflower ain't the daisy, and the melon ain't the rose. So why is it all so crazy to be something else that grows?
Excuse me for being rude, for not introducing my friend Boo-Boo. You see, one night during a monologue, he was in front of a really rough crowd, and he froze during one of his impressions. He's been that way ever since, if you know what I mean.
Oh, my kleine Kinder, my small little children. I haven't seen you in such a long... I want to get out of here. I just want to go home. My husband and my kids.
Oh, you left the family behind to start a second career, huh?
I thought I could make a few extra bucks. The girls at Jazzercise said it was funny. I was just out for a couple of yucks.
A couple of yucks? You know what an audience will do to this girl? They'll chew her up and spit her out.
So why do you do it? I just want to go home.
It's too late for me, son. I MC 6 nights a week. My whole life is New York to Boston to Billy Jack's. I live for laughs, don't you understand? What town are you from, son?
New Jersey. I just want to go home.
Oh, the little baby's crying.
I just don't feel funny.
You're a barbarian.
That's a problem. You got a packed audience paying $9 a head. Okay, and you don't feel funny? What are you gonna do?
You're a barbarian. Everything you stand for is barbaric.
No. That's where you're wrong, Mama. See, I'm a comedian.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. All right. Comedy isn't for me. I'm scared silly.
When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go downtown. When you've got worries, all the noise and the hurry seems to help, I know. Downtown, just listen to the music of the traffic in the city. Linger on the...
Oh, the umpire's in love. You're gone.